This operator showcase is for Jaye, and I'm so excited to review him because he's one of, if not the best 4-star you can own in your account. So much so that I wouldn't even call him a 4-star. I think he deserves to be a 5-star instead. So I'm going to start off this stage by placing Jaye over here facing to the left. We're currently using a skill 2 M3 Jaye with no module. I'll show you how his module works later on. On skill 2, it reads that his attack increases by 60% and each attack can heal himself or an ally within this range for 50% of the damage dealt. If you look at his attack right now, it's 1180, which is one of the highest values amongst the 4 stars, and it also helps that he has a decent attack speed. See how he kills the crocodiles before they can even hit him? So this is pretty decent. The defense of his is also not too bad, it's 378. So remember that number because I'm going to discuss about it later on. Ideally, you want to use Jaye in situations where the enemies have low defense in order to maximize that high physical damage that he has. If the enemies have high defense, however, you're going to hinder both him killing them and also his ability to heal because he only heals based on the damage dealt. Which means if the enemy has higher and higher defense, the healing amount will go down. So always make sure to put him in lanes where the enemies will absorb that physical damage. Now Jaye could handle bosses if the boss have low defense, but nowadays the newer bosses all have way too high of a defense. So I'm gonna solve the big ugly over here by surtering it away. So you can see Jaye's health is dropping. He can't heal if he's hitting no one, but once he starts hitting someone again, it will work out. To an extent, I see Jaye kind of like a budget Mountain because his role of lane holding is very similar to what Mountain does, with some differences of pros and cons. For instance, Jaye can only block one enemy, Mountain can block 2. Doesn't mean block 2 is a good thing because if you have 2 giant enemies coming in and they both get blocked by Mountain at the same time, there's a chance Mountain might die. And that comes with the benefit of Jaye because Jaye can only block 1, so that allows him to just handle a 1v1 fight with a super tough enemy. Then, Mountain's attack is about the same as Jaye if you maxed out your Mountain, but his attack speed is just slightly higher than Jaye's. So that means the overall damage of Mountain will be better, and Mountain can also attack 2 enemies at once, which helps. Mountain defense is lower than Jaye. For your note, Jaye started out with 378 just now, so that could be a good way to sustain him if there are enemies that have a decent physical damage. And then at the same time, Mountain's healing is sometimes worse than Jaye and sometimes better. It's worse than Jaye if Jaye is able to hit against a very low defense enemy. So it maximizes his healing. You're gonna get somewhere near 600 HP per hit. But if, of course, enemies don't usually have 0 defense, they have like 100, 200, maybe even 500, and that will hinder the healing. So to a certain threshold, Mountain will actually do better than Jaye. And Mountain also heals by himself. Not hitting anybody, he can still be healing himself, whereas Jaye must hit someone in order to be healing. So these are basically the idea as to why you would use Jaye, why you would use Mountain. Another thing for you to note is that Jaye is hindering your DP generation. If you look on the bottom here, I simply can't gain DP right now because Jaye is a merchant. So merchant have reduced redeployment time, the DP cost is not refunded if you retreat them, and when you deploy them, 3 DP is consumed every 3 seconds, which is why the DP is simply not going up. So the way you want to sustain it is either by having Vanguards in play so that you can keep him there, or if not, you want to make sure that he's the last deploy so that you don't have to care about anything else. If you have a stage where it says DP regen is down, or it says you can't gain DP at all, only can gain DP by killing people, I would suggest that you shouldn't go about using Jaye. So these are the things for you to think about as to why Jaye can be good and why Jaye might be someone you don't bring into a stage. With Jaye being a 4-star, a big advantage you have is that it's very easy to build him, whether to put him to Elite 1 or if not later on to Elite 2 and then to give him masteries. It's going to be super beneficial in your account, especially when trying to clear early game, mid game or even late game content. So for example, this stage of 715 where you have this one singular lane of tons of enemies coming in, I can simply deal with them by just putting Jaye on the top. And the good thing here is that Jaye is the last deployed, meaning I don't have to worry too much about DP generation since nobody else is coming afterwards. But some of you might be playing a lot of fast redeploys like Texas Outer, Kirin Yato, Phantom in order to be your emergency buttons in case something goes wrong. If you're very worried about your DP constantly going down, you could feed Jaye a module because you can see that the DP is kind of going up, and it's not because of Texas here, but it's because his module changes his traits. So apart from giving him an attack boost, it states that while deployed, 2 DP is now consumed every 3 seconds. So in a way, your DP generation is very much slower, but you at least still have 1 DP every 3 seconds. Of course, it's not the greatest, but it will make you feel a little bit comfier. So you can see, at least now I have a bit of leeway to deploy. My fast redeploys about 2 or 3 times. So that helps. So you could see that Jaye's module is pretty nice to have. Although, do you need to level it up to level 3? The answer is please don't hacking do that, because it only improves his attack by a small little bit, and it improves his talent as well, which states that it increases his attack to 150% if you look at the normal one when attacking infected creatures, which infected creatures are like your slugs or your spiders. Why does he have such a talent? Let me show you. Let's say you have this stage over here, and this is one that has ice spiders that's involved. Instead of using Jaye's skill 2, we can use Jaye's skill 1 instead. So Jaye's skill 1 states that his attack goes up, this is just skill level 7 by the way, and attacks can silence the target that he hits for 1 second, just like skill 2, it's an unlimited duration. The attack goes up to about the same amount as if you were to be using skill 2, and this helps because the talent is now in play since the spiders will actually receive more damage from him. So on top of being able to kill them quickly, he's also able to silence them, making sure that there's no explosion that's involved. So that's why something like Jaye is going to be pretty nice for you to use. Of course, if you're going on skill 1, then you might want to feed him a healer. So in stages where there are like tons of spiders, especially in IS, there were stages like Bob Spear in IS2, you have Fire and Water Union in IS3, and then later on you see things like this stage, this stage, this stage, this stage. All of them have tons of spiders, and if you can have a Jaye that was in your squad, if you've recruited him, the benefit is you won't see explosions simply anymore. So that's why Jaye's skill 1 is there for you to use. You don't have to build it to M3, but it's a really nice thing to have. To show you an application of Jaye's skill 1, we know that Lapland is one of the best silencers out there, but you could actually use Jaye in replacement of your lack of Lapland, because he can actually silence. So with things like silence, he's actually able to remove the dodge from this particular enemy as you see over there, which is gonna help you to kill it very quickly. Remember that I told you that Jaye could be used like a fast redeploy? Let's see how that can be used in a stage like this one over here. This is SN8. So I'm going to start off the stage by placing taunts right on this tile, and then if, let's say I'm worried that taunts takes a lot of sanity damage, I could help him by just placing Jaye over there just for a little while, but once taunt skill can be up, it's gonna be good at killing all these enemies, just as you see. So first placement of Jaye that's just done right there. Jaye has a redeployment time of 25 seconds, which a regular executor has a 20 seconds redeployment time, but with potential it's going to be shorter. So anyways, there's an egg coming out over here. I'm just gonna block it with Jaye. There you go. And okay, you know, the sanity damage has gotten to Jaye, so I'm just gonna retreat him and then activate taunt skill. So if you have a full pot Jaye, it's going to be 22 seconds. A full pot executor is typically 16 seconds. So that's kind of the difference between an executor and a merchant. So there's another egg that comes out over here. I'm not going to deal with it with my Jaye because quite sure taunts will be able to handle the egg. Instead, I'm going to set up Jaye over here because the boss of the stage is going to appear. So Jaye is helping me to deal a decent amount of damage against him because his defense is low. Okay, beta his attack. Let it strike down, retreat my Jaye, because I can still use him later on once again. So this boss is going to start making its way down just in a little while, and I don't want him to go hitting taunts and stunning taunts, so I'm going to bait him by placing Jaye over here. So give it a little bit of time. He's still going to hit Jaye because Jaye is alive there, which is good. So Jaye is getting the attention of him while taunts is hitting onto the boss. So just like what you would do with a regular executor, things like bait the enemies, try to quickly kill the enemies, Jaye can pretty much do something just like that. which is why he's such a fantastic 4-star. So from this video, I've taught you how you can use your Jaye, letting you see that he can be such a creative unit for you to use in your account. It's very easy to build him. Just M3 his skill 2 after you've E2 him, of course, and give him a module level 1, and he's gonna be functionally ready, super fun to use in integrated strategies, and even clearing of regular content. Of course, some of you might be saying, oh, I don't want to build my Jaye because he's good for my base, but trust me, I think it's going to be a lot more worth and fun for you to enjoy a full maxed out Jaye. So that's all that you need to know in this video. I hope to see you in yet another operator showcase. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.